everything that we're doing here fits within one of these buckets. Okay. Because like when I asked myself, okay, what's everything that an investor or a real estate professional need to do to be successful? And when you ask that question, it changes things a little bit from what's everything that someone needs to know, right? All right, guys, here we go now. It is time to unlock more doors to deals. We're real estate investors here. We're real estate agents here, and we all have one thing in common. We believe that we can. We can live the life of our purpose. We can create financial freedom. We can build a better life for those that we love, and we can live the life of our dreams. I don't care if you're trying to do your first deal or your 500th this year. You can get to the next level, and we're here to help. Hey guys, Jim here. So today on Doors to Deals, we have a training that's all about how to build winning habits that can result in life-changing income and even the life of your dreams. So when I first started out, guys, I thought that I needed to know everything that there was under the sun about real estate investing. And what I didn't realize was that I had a gap in my knowledge base and a gap in my skill set that actually didn't have anything to do with real estate. What I didn't realize was that I had the art of becoming really, really successful relies on the habits that you build and the activities that you develop. So this is a great resource that we have at our online library. And we talk a lot about goal settings and we talk about these habits because they are the fuel of what you can do to be ultimately successful. And when I first started out, I only did one deal in my first 18 months. I didn't realize that. I skipped that step. I thought that I just had to learn about real estate, and there's more to it than that, guys. So this training is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly important to master this, and I hope you enjoy it. And our online library, just so you know, has a tremendous amount of content, whether that's from analyzing deals, how do you calculate repairs, what's a deal analyzer for you to be able to do it in a more streamlined fashion, purchasing contracts, you name it. What a resource the online library is. And this is just a great sampling of everything that we have going on. So hope you enjoy the training today. Appreciate each and every one of you. And let's get rolling. Okay. Hey, welcome, guys. So today what I'd like to talk about is how to build winning habits. And the result of that is actually life-changing income and even the life of your dreams. Like literally today, what's incredible is like if you take this concept and you get really good at it and you apply it, you can apply it to, I don't care if it's like your relationship with your spouse. I don't care if it's work. I don't care if it's like raising your kids. I don't care if it's with friends, you name it. If you can apply and get into some of these right habits that we're going to talk about and you can apply these concepts on whatever it is you want to work on, whatever it is you want to improve, whatever it is goal you want to achieve. If you apply these concepts, you can really accomplish anything. So this I'm going to start out with, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun today. So we all know the story of Prince Charming and Sleeping Beauty. And some of us know it a little bit better than others. Kelly I was kind of talking to her about it, and I was like, wait, what was Sleeping Beauty? Like the prince's name was Prince Charming, right? And she was laughing at me like, oh, you better come up with a different story to tell that you know a little bit better. But anyway, like kind of the story is these two fall in love, right? And then the evil witch, Mal something. I don't even remember her name, but she kind of comes in and puts a spell on Sleeping Beauty, and then he wants to find her. It's his one true love, and he wants to find her and save the day, right? Like his mission is to kind of save her, and so that they can live happily ever after. And kind of the movie goes through a lot of He goes through a lot of trials on his quest to kind of get back to Sleeping Beauty and save her life. Like I guess the witch turns into a big old dragon, and he has to fight the dragon and kind of like, try and kill the dragon and save the day. And finally it ends up with he gets to kiss her, and then they get to live happily ever after. And I don't know about you guys, but I mean, can you imagine kissing somebody? Like I think, like, don't tell my wife I told you all this, but if I try and kiss her in the morning, it's not something that smells all that well. And I mean, I can't imagine what Sleeping Beauty's breath smelled like during this. And it's a really romantic concept, right? Of kind of like going after the princess and saving the day. And I want to be a hero and I want to achieve things. And uh, so anyway, why am I talking about all this? So I'm going to kind of tie this back. Okay, so let's kind of tie this back, and then I'll kind of get to the point here in a second. So how's this apply to life and business? Okay, so we kind of all set our quest and our mission, what our big grand goal is, right? Like maybe it's for some of you, maybe it's making $200,000. Maybe for some people, it's becoming financially free. Maybe for some people, it's working a 4-hour work week and then living happily ever after, right? So like we get these concepts in place and we set it up and we want to do everything and then kind of like achieve the day, right? And so like why we do it. So like, man, if I can just make $200,000, then I'll be able to spend more time with my family. If I'm financially free, then my wife and I will finally have time to have this deep connection with each other. If I just made my first deal and I made $50,000 on the flip, then if this happens, this goal, this mission, then I'll be happily ever after. And what's tough about this, guys, is that we grow up. These are some of the first movies that we see are our Disney movies, and they have this happily ever after concept. And we kind of fall in love with this concept. We fall in love with this idea. And the issue, though, is when you kind of apply that into the real world. So Caleb talked about this last week, and I want to bring this back up, especially for those of you that didn't hear it, because I think it's incredibly powerful. So Caleb was his big dragon, his big happily ever after, his big goal, like kind of his princess of what he was trying to achieve, was this 4-hour work week. Okay. And what he wanted to, and he thought, well, if I just do this 4-hour work week, then I'm going to live happily ever after. I'm going to live the life of my dreams. And he was able to, Caleb's a little bit he's an expansion agent of ours. He's a special human being. And at 25 or 26, he was able to achieve that goal. He was able to make that happen. And then that followed by, he went into a deep depression and realized that he's doing the 4-hour work week, but he hates his life. So we live in this arena of if then, and we get trapped in that's what the happily ever after is going to be for me. Okay. And there's not anything wrong. I want to be like really crystal clear on this one, guys. Like, I believe we're all heroes in our own story. That we all have our own life story. We all are put here for a purpose. We're put here for a mission, and part of our goal is to figure out what that mission is. Okay, and like we all can define that and build that mission, and once we get clear on what that is, that's great and it's exciting, right? But the heroic act and the image of like the happily ever after. I mean, let's just kind of compare it to the real world. Like in the story of Sleeping Beauty, they kiss, they get married, they're in love, and now their journey actually begins, even though the movie's ending, right? Like, for those of you that are married, I mean, I don't know. Did any of you have a problem during the dating phase? During kind of the quest to get married, so to speak. I mean, that's kind of the fun and easy part, but the heroic actions that are needed, to keep them, Like, were there any heroic actions needed to keep the marriage together kind of at that beginning dating phase, right? Or everything is a little bit easier. And then as we get going in the marriage, like what happens? Like some marriages grow apart and some marriages grow a little bit stronger each and every day. So is it the small things that make, and like, what do you guys think? Is it the small things, the small everyday things that make or break a marriage? Can like you continue to grow together or grow apart? Okay. So in my opinion, it's the little things that happen every day in and day out, that define your marriage, that define your life, and whether you're going to achieve that mission that you're on, that purpose, and what your purpose is. Okay. So again, so like I don't want to, so I want to be clear here in that I believe in having that quest. I believe in having that purpose. Our kind of quest right now is we want to help 250 people become financially free over the next 10 years, right? So like that's kind of like what we're trying to do and what we're striving for and what the big, hairy, audacious goal is, okay? But at the same time, the way it works is then we have to whittle it down all the way down to the goals that we need to do for the month, for the goals that we need to achieve for the year, the goals that we need to achieve for the month, the goals that we need to achieve for the week, and then the goals that we need to achieve for the day. Okay. So, and how we get there is through our habits. Our day-to-day activities are going to be what ends up making or breaking us, and whether we're going to succeed at our life, at the mission that we want at a really, really high level, or whether it's just going to fall completely and utterly flat. And one of the mistakes that I think I made when this may have been 10 years for me to figure this out, guys. So this took me a while, but like I'd go home every night and I would be completely and utterly defeated. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't accomplish enough today. I'm not good enough. I didn't quite make it. I have so much to do. It just didn't end. And the problem of what I was dealing with was I was thinking about the mission and the macro level of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to grow and what this business could look like. And I hadn't kind of whittled it down to what I needed to achieve for that day, and then be okay and completely content and happy that I achieved what I needed to set out for that specific day. Okay. So like what your habits become kind of the rocket fuel, and that's what launches you into what your purpose and your mission is. I think we often will get so kind of caught up in the thought process that I need to be a hero, I need to slay that dragon to save the day and to save the princess, and we just forget that what stops us, what prevents us, is the little things. It's almost like the difference between the dragon and a gnat. Like a little gnat will come and will fly and will get in your way. And like an example of a gnat might be, okay, it's later at night. I really want to improve my skill set and learn how to value properties better. I can take some online tutorials that Three Doors has in their membership site, or I can binge watch my next Netflix show. Oh, well, okay, well, I can put off my mission. I can put off my goals for tomorrow. It's no big deal. And then that goes on, and then you procrastinate and you procrastinate and you procrastinate. And what people don't realize is those small decisions that you make each and every day are ultimately what defines your destiny and defines your life and defines whether you achieve kind of that big mission that you're on. Okay. So some fun facts on habits, guys. So 40% of your behaviors every single day are actually made up by what your habits are. That you're on automation. Like you don't necessarily have to think about brushing your teeth, right? Or eating. You just kind of do that, right? Or going to the bathroom, you name it. So the majority, or the vast majority of what ends up happening is that your life ends up becoming the sum of your habits. And like, for example, like how healthy you are. Like if you're not healthy, then we could just say, okay, well, what are your habits? What are you actively doing? And if you're super healthy, well, you probably have really good habits. If you're not, the same. How much money do you make? It's the result of your thinking habits, not just and your action habits. Are you in a place that every obstacle you get at, you just kind of think about all the reasons why that's an obstacle and why it won't work? Or are you able to kind of flip the script and think, okay, well, this is a problem, this is an obstacle. How do I solve this? How do I get around it or over it or through it or underneath it and make it happen? And then your daily activities, your daily actions are just a direct byproduct of what you're actually doing as far as your habits go. So what you think and do over and over again forms who you are, what you believe, and ultimately what your destiny ends up being. Okay, so transform your habits and transform your life. So I have some tips that I want to go through for building your habits. And if anybody has anything that they need to or want to chat in here as well, feel free to chat. I'll try and pull up the chat box here so I have it up as well. So transform your habits, transform your life. So some tips for building habits. So start incredibly small and break it down. So let's say cold calling has you terrified and it's the lead gen strategy that you've decided that, okay, this is what I want to make work. So a lot of people will start out just like, oh, I got to call 100 people a day. And then maybe they do it that first day, but then they fall out of it because it's not a maintainable thing, okay? When you're just starting out, if you're not in the habit of that. So when I say small, like literally it can be, I'm going to pick up the phone with a list of numbers and call, with a list of numbers to call all 5 days during this work week. I'm not even going to hit dial. I'm not even going to call. All I'm going to do is type in the number of the first person and just type it in. I pulled up the list, I typed it in, and boom, okay, I accomplished that for the day. And then the next day comes around, I'm going to do the same thing. The next day comes around, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay. And maybe you're in like a bad habit of not believing in yourself. Like, like what is, like, can you think about like the bad habit process and apply the same process and break it down as well. So this can be applied no matter like what you want to improve. But the first step is to have a really, really teeny itty bitty step. So in the book Atomic Habits, which is in my opinion the best habits book that I've read, he actually even states like people have a problem with going to the gym and working out. Well, like literally the first week you can just like get in the car and drive to the gym. Don't even like go into the gym. Just get in the process of getting there and trying to get there each day that week that you plan on doing. Okay. So, and then the next step is that you can increase the habit in small ways. So you started out, let's go back to the cold calling example. You started out that I'm going to, in week one, I'm going to actually just pick up the phone and dial that first person each day. So then in week two, I'm going to actually call one person each and every day. Then week three, I'm going to try and call 5 people each day. Week 4, I'm going to try and call 10 people each day. And then weeks 5 through 8, I'm going to try calling 20 people each and every day. Okay. So there's so visual cues is another kind of element of building habits. So there's a really good story about a salesperson that was really successful. And it was a rookie salesperson, and he ended up doing more sales and kind of like leading the way very, very quickly. And they asked him, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, how did you accomplish this?" And he said, "Well, what I do is I don't read the news. I don't read about like brokerage tips or anything like that. What I realized is that for me to be successful, I have to master the fundamental of calling people. So when I got into the office each and every day, I have 2 jars. One jar is full of 120 paper clips. The other jar is empty. And when I make my first phone call, I pick up the paper clip and I put it in the next jar. And then I make the next call. I then I take the second paper clip, put it in the jar, and I don't stop dialing till all 120 are done." And that's all I did. So like what's interesting about this is like the environment that we're in is really important. The visual cues is a really helpful thing that you like physically like to help you remember the habit you're trying to build. Like when he got to his desk, he saw the jar of the paper clips like there. So the visual cue reminded him like, oh man, I have some work to do. This is my one thing that's going to generate the income and help me achieve the purpose, achieve what I want to out of this vehicle, out of this job. And so like there's also even been studies on like the environment that you're in that are really important as well. Like there was a study on Vietnam soldiers that were addicted to heroin. I think there was an alarming rate. It was like 20 or 30% of Vietnam soldiers ended up over in Vietnam getting addicted to heroin. And then when they moved them back to the United States and they got out of the environment that had all of the triggers that kind of magnified that addiction, they got them out of that environment. I think that the rate was only 5 to 10% out of those individuals that were already addicted ended up carrying that habit over into the new environment. So, and then if you flip that and they've done studies on people that are in the U.S. that are addicted to heroin, instead of being 5 to 10%, that are able to kind of fix the problem, like when people go to rehab and then they go back into that same environment that they were in, 90% have relapses and only 10% are able to actually recover from it. So when we talk about these visual cues and the environment that you have, be aware of where you're putting yourself into, because that can make or break how successful you are with your habits and how successful you are with your work. Okay, so then as far as tracking the activities go, Jerry Seinfeld here was asked by like a rookie comedian, and he said, "Hey, how are you so consistent? How have you achieved the pinnacle of success here?" Hey guys, Jim here. So I just wanted to do a quick reminder. This is a sampling and a reminder of just one of the trainings that we have that we've done over the past 3 years that is in our online training vault. The vault's intensive, guys. I mean, it has how do you calculate repairs, how do you write offers, how do you calculate ARVs, analyzers to help you do that in a more streamlined fashion, purchase contracts, you name it. Anything and everything that you need to scale your business and get it to the next level is in this online training vault. So go to doorstodeals.com/invest to check it out. doorstodeals.com/invest. Jerry Seinfeld here was asked by like a rookie comedian, and he said, "Hey, how are you so consistent? How have you achieved the pinnacle of success here?" And what he said, honestly, I write a joke every single day, no matter what. I don't take days off. I write a joke every day. It doesn't matter how I feel. Doesn't matter what I have going on. I have to write a joke every single day. And that's how I got to the level that I did. So he said, "Oh, well, that's great. Well, how'd you build that habit?" So what Jerry did was, here's a picture on the screen here of like a calendar. And he took like a big old calendar that had like an entire year, a view of an entire year. Okay, like all 365 days on it. And his goal, his one job was to not break the chain on his joke writing. So it was, he would get a check mark every day that he did it. And then if there was a gap, then he didn't get that, right? So like he had that visual cue and this accountability of tracking what he was doing to make sure that he was building the habit, and that habit led him to, I think the record that he made was 260 million in 1 year as a comedian, right? But had he not, like, we would not have ever heard of Jerry Seinfeld if he didn't get into the habit of writing the jokes every day and improving his skill set as a comedian. and we've all heard of him because Seinfeld was a huge, massive success. But that was, in order for him to kind of like get to the level he wanted to, it started first with his daily actions. Okay. So as far as we have in Learn Upon and our online training resources, we have a resource that helps you track habits. Okay. And basically, like, I wanted to share this with you just on a personal note. So during the virus and the corona stuff, like, I really started kind of taking my game to the next level as far as habits go. And I was really working on just breathing and doing breathing exercises to kind of help cope with some of the stress that we were all under. I started trying to conscientiously pray and read the Bible every day too, was one of my goals as well. Cardio, I tried to do that 5 days a week, and you name it. So just along the lines, like, I identified what habits did I want to be in and what habits did I want to do. And some I did better than others. Okay. But like the praying thing, I'm pretty proud. I did that. I got every day that month of from this example, because I was doing this every month. And what happens when you're tracking this is like what's the same thing that Seinfeld was talking about. Like, you start getting this momentum and you start getting excited about it, and you don't want to break the chain. And because if you set it up to where you can visually see it, like there's a momentum feeling behind this that is just absolutely incredible. Okay. So like this is a tool that you all have in our online library, and I really highly recommend it. So I'll just kind of fast forward here. So here's a screenshot of it, and the lead generation. So a daily lead gen, a daily lead follow-up, scripts and role play, working on studying a key activity, a key skill that you're going to need to be able to achieve what you want. And, just being able to just check off each and every day what that is and what to do. Okay. So I jumped forward a little bit. So a lot of this content, guys, from Habits, like the best book that I've found on habits, there's a lot of great ones out there, is this Atomic Habits. I want to be really clear. I don't want to take credit for some of these processes. This guy has really figured it out, and it's an incredible resource. So James Clear, how he was doing it is, so he has a blog that on Mondays and Thursdays, he writes an article every week. Okay. And he tells a story that he was traveling and he got food poisoning, and it was Thursday and his article wasn't done. Okay. So what he did was he said, he wrote a post on the website, even though he had food poisoning, that said, "This post is coming soon," clicked, and he sent it. So what he did was he completely reduced the scope of that work to honor and still get the check mark on the habit of having completed that task. Okay, so the key with it is like, if you reduce the scope, like because life happens and life's going to happen, you still want to be creative and try and find a way to keep that habit going, to keep it moving forward. So the example of dialing, let's go back to that. So like we talked about, the first day, you're just going to literally pick up the phone, or the first week, because like you're terrified of this thing. I'm just going to literally pick up the phone. I'm going to dial a number, and I'm not even going to click call, right? And then you build up. And so maybe you're on week 8 and you're legitimately calling 20 people each and every day at that point. But let's say you're in week 8 and just something comes up, your lead gen's worked, and you have like 4 deals you're working on, and you realize it's 4:59, and you realize, oh my gosh, I haven't made my 20 calls yet. I'm human. I made the mistake. So in that case, what you could do is completely reduce the scope all the way back down to what you did in week 1, and just find the first number that you were needing to call for the day, dial the number, and not even click call. In that case, though, you still are proceeding with your schedule and your habit, because that routine is actually more important and remembering to do it than the actual activity of doing it, believe it or not. So the skills, just to remind you, I've talked to a lot of you about this before, but everything that we're doing here fits within one of these buckets, okay? Because like when I asked myself, okay, what's everything that an investor or a real estate professional need to do to be successful? And when you ask that question, it changes things a little bit from what's everything that someone needs to know, right? And to make money in real estate, it's a lot simpler than we make it out. You need to have a network, have the right people around you that you know, like, and trust, whether that's the right carpenter or the right plumber or the right real estate agent, you name it. You need to have the right team around you, the right title company, okay? So developing how to build those relationships and how to connect is a really important skill, how to work with people. Making a buying decision on a property. What are the repairs going to cost on this? What is the property going to sell for after it's fixed up? Having that skill set is paramount. You need to be able to do that. And yes, there's people that can help you with that. There's quality agents that can help you with it. And you as an investor also need to know that, right? Lead generation, like what is your strategy going to be, and how can you move that forward each and every day? Negotiating deals. And then if you're flipping, you do need to have the skill of working with contractors and project management, okay? So how long does it take to master a skill and really get into habits? So it can take on average 66 days to form a habit for you to be able to do that task automatically. So one of the things that James Clear preaches is that, okay, if I reduce the scope and on day 65, at least I'm continuing that habit of doing it, because I want to get to the point where I get so good at this darn thing, I'm doing it automatically. And we're using the cold call or the example of cold calling, but really this can be applied to anything from, I shared with you that I've been trying to pray every day, right? It can be from that. It can be from something with a relationship with a spouse, you name it. But the key is to get in the habit and to continue it, okay? And it can take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the person and how difficult the task is, to really develop a skill and get good at it. So we think that, just to kind of recap on this, guys, we all get excited about that happily ever after. And we get excited about the mission. And then there's just this gap between what do I do today to get to there, and the habits and developing these habits are what's going to take you to that next level. Okay. So this is a really important tool. I already kind of talked about it a little bit, but just to reiterate on it, it's a tracking tool, and it's Seinfeld has used it. I've used it. And when you start doing this, guys, and really get into that routine, I promise you there's another level that you can get to with this. And there's an excitement and a motivation that comes with it when you're starting to really achieve it. And for me, what happened when I started doing this was I was able to turn it off at night, because I realized I identified, okay, what are the things I need to do today? Yes, I have this big, hairy, audacious goal. Yes, I have this big mission, but what are the habits that I need to do that will get me there? And if I achieve those habits for the day, regardless of what the result was, I knew I'm moving forward towards that goal, rather than having that like impending doom feeling of, oh, am I ever going to achieve this big, massive goal? The work's not ever done. The work's not ever done. And what happened for me was like at a level of excitement and a level of fun that I don't know if I've ever had while I've been working for this entire time, and a feeling of momentum, a feeling of progress that I was getting towards the goal. Okay. So I really highly recommend doing this, guys. And you can change it and kind of whatever habits you want to do, this can be a plug and play for. Okay. So, if you guys want to call it, we can. If you guys want to kind of discuss this, and what I'm curious about personally is what's something that has you stuck on building the habits? Like what's something that you're struggling with right now to get to the habits that will lead you to the success, lead you to the results that you want. So let's open this up, guys.
Hey, Ryan, it's Brian. One of the things, I think this topic hits home for me because I realize in being in this industry, there are the two main things are relationships and habits. I think if I was to sum it down to the things that matter most, it's those two things. And so this is definitely one of the pillars, and it definitely is a struggle. I mean, you're either growing or dying. You're never just in one place of like you might feel like you plateau, but you're never really, just sitting there stagnant. You're either going one way or the other. And I realized that through habits, it's the only way that I can stay in a mode of progress. And even through all the distractions and all the difficulties and trials, I also realized I've learned sometimes I've gone beyond the mark. That first day back into working out, you want to go hard, and the next thing you know, you hurt yourself, or you get so sore that you don't want to do it for the next 3 days. So I think for me, it's not requisite that a man should run faster than have strength, and so it's the consistency. I think is the most important thing for me. So I've been trying to work on being consistent. It might be a little bit of work. It might just be it doesn't seem like it's much, but I feel better if I'm consistent in doing that little than I am in sputtering out after doing a whole lot, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely. And the consistency is the hardest part. I mean, anybody can fall in love, get married, and, think they're going to live happily ever after, right? But how do you show up each and every day for the person you love? How do you grow that relationship each and every day? Baseball. So I'm a big baseball fan, and how you get in the Hall of Fame is like you hit 500 home runs. You do something like big over the course of your career. And I kind of wondered, I was like, well, why? There's some people and so I'm from St. Louis, and Jim Edmonds is one of the best center fielders that St. Louis has ever had. And he had like a 4 or 5 year stretch that was as bright as probably any center fielder that's ever played the game. And so when I look at it, I'm like, man, this guy was so incredible. And yet he's not getting in the Hall of Fame. And with the Hall of Fame, it's you can, there's people that can have 2 or 3 year spans that are bright, but to get in the Hall of Fame, you have to have an entire career that's like a decade plus. That's really, really high caliber. And the amount of people that can do that are few and far between, because it's the consistency, not only being at a high level, but consistently showing up each and every day, whether you feel like it or not. There's going to be some days where you don't necessarily feel like kind of picking up your mission and your purpose in life, and you'd rather just kind of sit and watch Netflix and kind of binge watch that and kind of do whatever you feel like doing. And but building yourself into those habits. And what's interesting is like the more you get disciplined with your habits, the more momentum you get. That actually is ultimately what unlocks the freedom and the exact lifestyle that you kind of wanted to get into. Whether that's the 4-hour work week or not. But it's like ultimate discipline then kind of unleashes that ultimate freedom or that exact life that you want. Brian, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it, man.
That totally reminded me of that quote from Muhammad Ali about how he said he hated every day, every moment of practice, but he said he suffers now so that he could one day be a champion, and we see where that went. So that's exactly what that makes me think about. And as far as the opportunity meeting preparedness quote that I've always heard, you're prepared because you've been working at it for so long, and so it seems like an overnight success when really it's in the background. You've been doing all the small things. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And we think that we have to make these big heroic gestures or kill the dragon or whatever, and the reality is it's just the small little decisions that we make. the small little habits. Did I get up out of bed or not? So I love it, man. Does anybody else have anything they want to kind of add in or chime in about this? What are you guys
Yeah,
thinking
Jim,
about?
this is David. How you doing, man?
David, what's up, buddy?
Not much. Hey, just talking about the struggles in this environment, especially the real estate environment. I'll share mine. You know, man, the passion I have for real estate and knowing what it could possibly do for me and my family, probably over the last 7 years, it's been intense. But I always struggle with, and we hear this. There's two things when it comes to trying to build wealth in real estate. It's, find the money or find the deal and the money will come. And I battle with that one all the freaking time, man. And just stress and work. For me, it's like I'm on the end. Well, let me find the money first. But then, when I've talked to individuals, whether it's a private investor or potential private investor, the very first question they ask is, okay, well, what kind of deal you got? Then I go, oh man, you know. So, that's something I've constantly struggled with. I saw some of the habits you put on there as far as lead generation, project management, and things like that. But yeah, I just wanted to share. I think for me, that's been the biggest, probably the biggest barrier for me to just really take off, find some consistency, and be successful.
So what have you, David, what have you ever done to find, so you just kind of have this doubt on, man, do I need the money to be able to lead generate?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, before finding the deal, it's like, you know what, I need to have the money in place to secure the deal. And lead generating, I mean, I know a ton of wholesalers. I know where to find it. Obviously, the MLS is an opportunity. But then again, on the times that I have found potential money with potential partners, the very first question has always been, okay, well, where's the deal? Show me, I mean, I even had a conversation with my brother-in-law a couple of days ago, just telling him I'm ready to get back going. And that was his very first question. He's like, yeah, okay, what do you got? And I didn't have a deal to put in front of him because it sounded like he was ready to, he says, I'm very conservative. You know how I am. But yeah, if the numbers make sense, put it in front of me and let's go. And then, of course, crickets, because I had nothing to show him.
Yeah. So what's interesting is based on those conversations that you've had, you've already found the money. Like, it sounds like your brother-in-law is willing to do it, right?
Right.
So you check, done. You got it. And like, that's one of the things with like networking too, is like in our network, we have a lot of people with a lot of money that can fund deals and all that as well. So like, yeah, I mean, you being kind of tied to this, you're good on that front.
Okay. So it's really more about finding the leads then.
Yeah. So what's interesting though is a lot of times we kind of get these filters or these like limiting beliefs, or some people might even call them like excuses or like crutches, right. like, okay, well, that's why I'm not doing the habits or the activities that I need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as like the lead generation goes, yeah, I mean, depending on what your strategy is, I mean, I don't know one person that likes to cold call. I know a lot of people making a lot of money that are doing it. I don't know one person that likes to door knock. The people that door knock and consistently do it each and every day. I have a buddy down, I forget if he's in Texas or where he's at, that literally he's just this old seasoned vet and he's financially free. He doesn't have to work. If he gets bored, he'll just go door knock for a couple of days. And he's so good at it now that he gets a deal every time he door knocks.
Wow.
But he also developed the skill set and has like mad skills doing it now. Like, it was through hundreds of hours of doing it. So now he's gotten so good at it that he can just, with a drop of dime, pick up a 20, 30, 40K flip, like whenever he wants to. So like that's, but like we see that end result and are like, oh, that'd be great if I could do that. But Like what did he have to do to get there? Like how many hundreds of hours did he have to pour into this to develop that skill set? So yeah, with you, David, definitely, it's okay. It's time to pick the lead gen strategy, use these tools that we've talked about that we have in there to track your activities and make sure you're doing it each and every day. But don't be like Bryant mentioned it earlier. Like I think lifting weights is a great example for this, guys. Like we have this thing that like, or even let's just say like running a marathon, like maybe that's even an easier example. Like for some reason, if we're like, hey, I want to run a marathon. Okay, I'm just going to go out and like run like 6 miles on my first day, like for whatever reason. And I don't know if women, I know guys have this problem more than women, or I don't know, maybe not, but like we want to like overdo it so often. And then like, it's like, oh, well, I have to run 6 miles a day till I get to this marathon ready shape. And then your body might crash, you hurt your back or your knee starts barking, you name it. And what's better is building up. It's actually showing up each and every day and getting into the habit of being a runner, So, okay, well, the marathon, like, okay, like if I'm going to end up doing the marathon, well, okay, how do I just show up? Maybe I don't even run for a month, depending on what type of shape you're in. Maybe I have to walk for 5 minutes a day. And then I can walk for 6 minutes a day and then 7 minutes a day and build up to where I can walk for 3 miles. And then, okay, now I'm going to run for a little bit. But like, it's like reprogramming and getting into the habit of doing these activities. And when I said one of the traps of this, guys, that I had a light bulb moment on was then lowering back the scope if you have to, if life comes up or whatnot, that lowering the scope. So like, let's say you're walking and then you start running a few miles a day and then, oh man, my back's kind of hurting or my knee's kind of hurting or you name it. Well, I'm a person that moves every day. That's who I am now. Okay, well, I can't run right now. So what most people will do then at that point is be like, okay, well, I'll take a week off. And then that week becomes a month. That month becomes a year. That year becomes a decade. And, all that momentum that was built up for a few weeks is, just kind of erased and gone. So it's okay. My knee's barking a little bit. Can I walk for 5 minutes again? Okay. Yeah, I can walk for 5 minutes. And then like maybe you just do that till your knee starts feeling better and then you start running again. But like keeping that every single day, like showing up every single day is actually more important than kind of the result of whether you made the run or not.
Got it.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. What else do you guys have? Like, is there anything else like kind of holding you back from kind of getting into the habits that you need to get into? What do you guys think?
Jim, I think the biggest thing is distractions. And again, we try to prioritize our life. Well, that's the first thing we should be doing is prioritizing and being honest about what we really can do and what we really got going on in all areas, no matter what the habit is. But I think what I find is once I set the goal, right, and once you set, all right, this is what I'm going to do, the next thing you know, the bottom falls out of something else, and so you feel like you're spinning plates. And I think it's juggling that is one of the big things that can hurt in keeping the momentum and keeping the consistency. When everything's fine and dandy, it's easy to keep the habit, right? But it's when the struggles come, which we know life is not going to be without struggles. All of us are going to have them at some point. It's struggles are indiscriminate. So it's what do you do to stay on that and stay in that consistent level? I think when you have those type of distractions coming in.
What have you found works for you, Bryant?
The biggest thing for me, first of all, prioritization has been key. Because again, I think, let me take a step back. Not getting down on myself about the habit. You know what I mean? If something goes wrong and I miss, the first idea would be to get upset that well, I can't do what I wanted to do. For instance, the past couple weeks, I've had a goal of getting 5 offers out each week, and I hit the goal. I had struggled to get there to that point. I was doing 3 for a good while, and then I tried to bump it up to 5, trying to make things happen. And I hit it one week, and then went like 3 or 4 weeks where I didn't hit it at all. And that was because every week there was something else going on. And I realized that I was not making the calls necessary to get the leads a priority in my schedule. I was prioritizing everything else. And in addition to that, I do have the squirrel mentality. So easily distracted, shiny objects do catch my attention. And so I fall down the rabbit hole, and I have to step back and reevaluate and say, okay, wait a minute, what is important now? What are the goals that I have, and what are the activities to get to the goals that I said I need to hit for the week? Also, having risk and reward also helps with my prioritization. So I say, if I'm going to hit this goal, and my goal is to quote unquote, like for instance, this goal for coming this week is I get 5 offers in, and my risk is I don't drink soda for a week, which I'm a soda freak, which I know would be better for me not to, but I don't drink soda for a week. If I do hit it, there's a certain place I like to get pizza from. I have pizza for the weekend. So setting those things around it to give a risk reward to help me prioritize, again, which is what it's coming down to. It's all about doing what I know I need to do that I'm not doing to get to where I say that I want to be. Because at the end of the day, I can't really blame anybody else for not doing the activities that I know that I should be doing. And honestly, the people that I've seen successful out here, even within the group, you guys and like the Dave Dodgers I respect, and, the different guys out here, LaVinson, who's making it happen. I see those things, and I look at you guys because you're a few steps ahead of the game in the real estate than I am. And I realize that you go through life just like I do. And the one honest to goodness truth that I know we're all trying to work out is how to keep the main things the main thing, and be successful in doing it. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that what I shared can help.
Absolutely, man. It really does. And the thing too, like one of the things that could be demoralizing too, like if you're like a newer investor comparing yourself to someone that's been doing it a while as well, like I mean, just it's like a muscle that you build up to. Like it's not like, you don't just start out running a marathon. Like, so if you're comparing like how the Three Doors team did 588 deals last year to someone and if you're just starting out being like, man, how are these guys doing it? Well, it's been like a 13-year journey of building this thing to get to a volume like that, so like you have to be really careful too, to not compare yourself and then like have something that could be demotivating there too. But every journey starts with a single step. Every kind of big goal that you want to achieve happens in the little moments. That's where your destiny's achieved. Did you believe in that? When you ran into an obstacle, do you think you can, or do you think you can't? And it's these little itty bitty decisions that we don't talk about enough that really impacts ultimately what the destiny of your life ends up being, and what whether the kind of the mission you're on ends up being a success or a failure. And I really enjoyed kind of bringing up the Sleeping Beauty as kind of part of it, is because like we've been programmed and conditioned from our youth to think like this. And it's only part of the picture, like the story doesn't end when the prince marries the princess, that it's just beginning, and we need to just be really cognizant on our thoughts and our words and our actions, and having a congruency there, and winning each and every moment, winning each and every day. And if you can focus on that process of getting just a little bit better each day and doing the right things that are going to return you, help you do deals and help you make money, then that's when it all starts to trickle. That's when you start getting excited, and when it's kind of like you start realizing, whoa, this big mission, like of financial freedom, this is a doable thing. I'm doing this. I'm on this journey. And then it becomes this self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling like cycle that just builds and builds and builds. And it's like this snowball effect that like just slowly builds and builds and builds. But it has to happen first in between your ears and thinking right. And then it has to happen with doing the right activities each and every day. That's the start of it. So yeah, I mean, this is like literally, guys, like if you get good at this skill set, there's not any mountain you can't climb. There's not any goal you can't achieve. And this is like the blind spot that I think holds a ton of people back. So, all right, well, we're right at the hour, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for kind of hopping in on the discussion and kind of improvising a little bit with me from our normal routine. But I appreciate each and every one of you. If there's anything I can do to help any of you guys out, please just let me know. And get the habits dialed in, guys. Track your activities. Keep it simple and just move forward each and every day. And feel good about yourself when you move that forward each and every day. You don't have to feel like it's like a doom and gloom thing when you haven't quote unquote slayed the dragon or achieved that mission in a single day's worth of work. Feel good. I like how Brian's rewarding himself for being a part of it, as he goes through this journey. Have fun with it, guys. So that's a wrap. Appreciate you guys. And I will see you next time. Hey guys, if you're looking for some more resources on this topic, go to doorstodeals.com/habits. I really want to provide you with some additional support because this is so critically important to master. I'm going to share with you what I personally use each and every day for free as a downloadable on the website. And then also, I'm going to have some additional resources if you really want to study this, what some of the best books and that exist on this topic. So go to doorstodeals.com/habits and we'll give you some more support on that webpage. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning into this show. For more episodes and resources that will unlock Doors to Deals, check out our website, doorstodeals.com.